Hello everyone and welcome to Aircover and happy International Women's Day. Aircover is an inspiring, informative and international webinar series by global university systems that brings to you some of the most interesting businesses and business leaders from across the globe. Our topic today is success in the luxury fashion industry. We'll be talking about the skills needed to succeed in the area of logistics, but also getting tips on what is needed to stay motivated and inspired to follow your dreams in the business world. We're joined by Chloe Harris, who is Senior Director of Delivery at Farfetch. Farfetch is the leading global platform for luxury fashion industry. Founded in 2007, Farfetch has become the center for 1,300 of the world's best brands, boutiques, and department stores, offering a truly unique online shopping experience for its customers in over 190 countries. Chloe, a very warm welcome.
Thank you very much for having me today.
Chloe, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to our staff and students. And just before we start, Chloe, Gus places a lot of importance on his company values.
Yes.
And I would like to tease out one of those values and hear what your thoughts are on collaboration. What does collaboration mean to Farfetch?
Well, one of our core values is todos juntos, and my Portuguese colleagues will absolutely murder me for that pronunciation, I'm sure. But it's actually Portuguese for all together. And we very much focused on working together as a business unit to achieve everything together and working towards common goals. So we really prize that above all of our values at Farfetch.
Thank you, Chloe. To our viewers, do send questions for Chloe in the live chat box. But today, because it's International Women's Day, we would also like to hear your thoughts on, for you to give a shout out to your female role models and let us know why they inspired you or who has inspired you. And let us know in the comment section, write in the comment section, who is your role model and why they or how they have inspired you. So let's dive straight in, Chloe, with the questions. As a Senior Director of Delivery at Farfetch, with experience in some of the UK's most prominent retailers, including Liberty, House of Fraser, John Lewis partnership, you've seen firsthand how logistics continues to influence almost everything we do. Can you give us an insight into your journey and how to get to where you are today?
Yes, of course. I think I probably started off on quite a confused path, I will say, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do when I was at college, and I really enjoyed French, so I decided to do French at university, and for some unknown reason decided to specialise in medieval French, which is a bit of an odd choice in hindsight. Very specialist. And then I left university and I thought that's probably not going to get me very far in terms of the job market, so I felt that I had to do something extra to kind of get some more skills that would be useful in a sort of business world. So I actually went and did an advanced secretarial course, so that was really useful to kind of give me some more practical skills in the workplace. Still didn't know what I wanted to do after that, so I went through an A to Z of careers, got all the way through to W and found wine, and I thought, oh, that sounds quite interesting. I'd be quite interested to learn more about wine because it was also one of my hobbies and interests. And then about 3 weeks later, a job came up in the paper for a bilingual secretary in a wine company. So I applied for it, got the role, really enjoyed it for a couple of months. And then the logistics manager within that company left quite suddenly and they offered me the job. I had no idea what a logistics manager was at the time and foolishly said, oh yes, I'll give it a go. And with a lot of hard work and a lot of determination, I've been in logistics ever since, so I've kind of really enjoyed it. But I think it was quite a swervy path to getting there.
But it's quite interesting, isn't it? I mean, you went for your passion, as you said, you liked mine, and then it kind of took you to actually where you want to be today. So it's amazing how it all worked out in the end.
Yes, definitely. I think that's a good thing to look out for when you're trying to think about what you want to do, because it can be quite a lot of pressure, for sure.
And there are many students following this webinar today inspired by your story and hoping to replicate the kind of success you have had. What advice would you give to students wanting to go down a similar career path as yours?
Well, I think, first of all, don't put too much pressure on yourself. Nobody knows exactly what they're going to be doing in 20, 30 years' time, so everyone feels like they have to know the answer straight away, and I think it's a process of trial and error. So you will try some jobs and you absolutely don't like them, and then you'll try other jobs and I really like elements of this, and then you can start to understand what is the recipe for success and what's going to really float your boat. So I think that's the first one. I would also say that it's quite important to follow your heart and as you just said, Jackson, look at the things that you're interested in. Don't just think about what's going to give you the most money or the most prospects, because I think it's much easier to shine if you're doing something that you really love and that you have a passion for than something that's just a 9 to 5 and you're kind of going into the job and your heart's not really in it. So I think it's those two things. Don't put too much pressure on yourself and keep an open mind.
I quite like the point where you mentioned you'll be trying out some jobs which you don't like, but in the process also figuring out these are things that I do not want to do, but I still have some knowledge and literally creating a path of knowing what you actually want. Yeah,
I thought I wanted to be a teacher for ages, and as part of my degree in France, I spent a year teaching, and that was enough for me. I was like, this is not my forte. So that was something I always thought I would end up doing, and it was quite a big shock that perhaps wasn't the right thing for me. So I think trial and error and just be prepared to take a chance on different things, and then you might find something that surprises you. I never thought logistics would be the one, and I'd never really heard of it until I sort of fell into it by accident.
And what are the typical skills that an individual would need to have to succeed in the logistics industry? And what are some of the ways students can develop these skills?
Mm-hmm. So I think it's having a sort of sixth sense. I'm always thinking about what's going to go wrong, which you could say maybe I have a sense of doom, but where everybody's thinking about what's going to go right, what's going to go well, I think logistics people tend to think, oh, that might happen, that could go wrong, how can we fix that? So certainly when I got married, my husband was sorting out the flowers and the cake, and I was thinking, what happens if there's not enough parking, and how can I get the guests across London to the venue? And so it's kind of just thinking about those kind of things and how you can piece a plan together. So if you're quite good at planning things, I think you could be quite good at logistics. I think definitely being super practical, having lots of common sense, and definitely that ability to see into the future and think what could go wrong. So always kind of being a few steps ahead. If you're the kind of person who plans the night out for your friends and you're always thinking about these things ahead of time, then that could be a good career option for you.
Did you know exactly? So if you're the one who is planning out things ahead for your friends,
you heard it here first.
You could take.
So exactly.
As a celebration of International Women's Day, can you tell us a few of your female role models growing up who inspired and motivated you to get you where you are today?
Yeah. So I think logistics as an industry is still a little bit behind where I would like to be. It's still very male orientated, certainly in a lot more of the senior roles. So I've been very lucky at Farfetch that I've been supported through my journey up to senior director now, and I've been supported by a lot of great female role models, not role models, role models and mentors throughout my career. I think the logistics industry is quite known for being that the people are quite tough and quite straight talking and can be quite loud sometimes. And I think probably my biggest reflection at this point in my career is that you don't have to be the loudest voice in the room to be heard. It's about developing your own style, developing your own way of working, and I think then you can be successful. We have a great saying at Farfetch, which is do what's never been done before, and I really connected with that, and I think I sort of apply that to the way that I manage and the way that I work, and try to inspire the team in that way. So I think it's great that we're getting more women in the industry, for sure.
I like that. Do what you haven't done before. I mean, it's also good for the personal growth, isn't it? Personal progression.
Yes, definitely. Well, we're definitely on the front foot of that. I'm always saying that to our suppliers when I come up with the latest crazy project. Are we going to do this today? And they're like, what? But that's kind of what we do. We're very entrepreneurial as a business, and we always like to do new things. So it's really enjoyable to be working for a business like that.
Keeps things exciting.
Definitely. Stressful and exciting.
Stressful.
Yes, exactly.
Now, to our viewers, do some questions for Chloe in the chat box. Don't forget, you can start sending them already now itself, so we can have them by the time we reach the Q&A session. And also let us know who your female role models are in the comment section. Start commenting away. Chloe, in one of the previous editions of Aircover, we spoke with Helena Shipman, who is Senior Associate at the law firm Carter Ruck. We spoke about the challenges women face in our industry. Now, you've already mentioned that the logistics industry is also quite male-dominated.
Mm-hmm.
So my question to you, Chloe, as a role model to young women, is how do we keep inspiring women to follow their dreams in the business world?
Yeah, and I think it's, as I said, it's logistics is a very male-dominated industry, but that is changing. I'm very proud to say that in the delivery team at Farfetch, I think we're pretty much 50-50, or we might be slightly more female to male ratio. And I think it's about, first and foremost, as women, being encouraging to other women and lifting them up and giving them an opportunity to shine. But it's also about having the backing from the business, so allowing people to be able to balance, if they've got a family, to have that work-life balance, maybe more flexible working, so that they can balance a family life and a career as well. So I think it's a combination of factors to lead to that, but I'm pleased to say it is getting better. And I think since COVID and there's more people working from home, that has definitely opened up more opportunities to people that maybe before couldn't make the commute work and the family life as well. So I think that's a really positive thing.
And during the past 3 years, with Brexit and COVID impacts on supply chain, there must have been some highs and lows.
Just a few.
Just a few. How important is it to find a way that works for you to recover from the lows, so that you can get the most out of the highs? And what advice, and I'll ask the question after this one.
Brexit was really tough, and we've not only had Brexit, we've had Brexit, we've had COVID, we've had ships stuck in the Suez Canal. We've had weather problems, you name it. The last 3 years have, without a doubt, been the most challenging of my 25 years in my career. And every time you think nothing else can come, something else arrives that you're not expecting. So it has been really, really difficult. And I think through Brexit, certainly my team and other teams in Farfetch had a very, very difficult moment, and it was hard to kind of get through that. But really what I kind of said to everyone is it's like a short time, and it'll be over soon. And once we've done it, we can say that we can do anything. If you can get through Brexit, you can literally get through anything. And it's hopefully the worst thing that'll ever happen. And hopefully, touch wood, nothing else comes along. But yeah, definitely the last few years have been very, very tough and quite stressful for a lot of people in the industry. But I think those that are still doing it have kind of survived really tough times. So that's something they can all be very proud of.
I like how you said that it's limited, so it's not ongoing
yes.
forever. So there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes.
It's not something that is just going to be there forever.
And I think that's important. If people are working very long hours and they're working for, again, a common goal, todos juntos, all working together, yes, you can do that for 3 or 4 months and work really hard, but it's good to know that there's an end to it and things will calm down and you can go back to a bit more of a normal life after that. So until the next problem comes on, yes. that's always the way in logistics. I'm afraid that's quite often you always get the toughest problems to solve, but that's what makes it interesting for sure.
And my second follow-up question on that would be, what advice would you give to students who face rejection?
Yeah, I think I'm a firm believer of the universe putting you where you need to be, and I've had plenty of rejection in my career. As I said, I wanted to be a teacher. It didn't work out, and then I realised that's probably for the best, maybe for me and for the students. No, I think you've just got to keep positive and think maybe that wasn't the right thing for right now, and I've just got to keep going and think about what I want, and maybe it's a different version of what you thought you wanted, but it's kind of pushing you in a slightly different direction. So again, I think it's about being open and maybe thinking a bit broader about what you want to do, and maybe it's not exactly that thing that you haven't succeeded with, but you can do something close to that's quite similar or in the same vein. So
in a way, you're here today, not teaching directly students, but inspiring them. In a way,
Hopefully,
yes.
Yes.
As you would have done as a teacher. So what trends do you see emerging in the field of delivery management or logistics?
I think it's really interesting because we've got a whole new generation of consumers coming into the market now and buying online, and sort of the younger generations are more likely to buy online, and actually they're being quite demanding, and rightly so, as consumers. So they want more convenience, they want more sustainable delivery options, which is fantastic. Paperless returns, they don't want loads of paper in the box, they want sustainable packaging. Big upsurge in things like second life products and thrift and vintage. So it's opening up a whole new way to shop, which I think is really interesting, and it's good for the people that have been in the industry for a while, that we see all these new technologies coming to the fore, and people kind of really pushing us to say, you know, home delivery in 5 days is not good enough anymore. We want it by this time, by this hour, and it's great to kind of be pushed, and you know, in turn we push the carriers, so the carriers to push them to say, right, it's no good just delivering Monday to Friday, we need Saturday, we need Sunday. So it's kind of evolving as a whole piece, I guess, starting from the shopper themselves.
So there are literally like lots more options, lots more possibilities.
Yeah.
Which previously didn't exist.
Yeah, definitely, and I think that's just going to carry on. People, you know, they do look at stores like Amazon, and they're so quick to get everything to you in very convenient slots. So it gives everybody the perception that everyone should follow. So we're not just wanting to follow, we're wanting to lead. And so we're working on some things at the moment that will hopefully keep pushing the boundaries and giving new things to the market that we haven't seen before. Do what's never been done before. Exactly. Exactly.
For students who are inspired by a personal story and the work you do at Farfetch and the logistics industry, are there any internships, work experience, or job opportunities offered at Farfetch? And if so, how can students apply?
We do have a programme, yes, we do. I don't have the details on me, but maybe if I can send you the details, Jackson, and then you can share those with your team. It's a global company, so we have a global reach, offices in lots of different countries, so that's really good. We get lots of CVs from all over the world, literally, so I can definitely share.
When you get CVs, like if one of our students want to join your team, like what would be the criteria you look for? Like what would be a candidate where you say, yes, this would be a good fit for my team?
Well, I think we quite often look for people that are good at problem solving. That's a big one that jumps out, and that people who have an interest in the industry, because you can't fake that. So if people are interested in Farfetch, if they're interested in fashion, if they're interested in logistics, I think that really goes a long way when you're having an interview with somebody. But yeah, I think common sense and problem solving, those are the kind of things that we really look for when we're interviewing candidates.
So if today a candidate wanted to get in touch with you asking for an internship, how is usually the process like? Does it come straight to you? Does it come to your team?
We have a pool of talent, the talent team, talent acquisition. So it would go through them, and they kind of will do initial screening and initial conversation. I'd say that the Farfetch is quite a complex business, so you kind of go through a meeting with them just to talk through it first, and then they'll give you more information about the company and how it all works. So we can certainly give you more details on how that all works.
Thank you, Chloe. Chloe, let's take a look at some of the questions
we
received,
yes.
And see what our viewers are asking. So, question number 1 is, what advice would you give to your younger self?
Oh, that's a good one. Probably what I just said, funnily enough. I got very stressed when I was younger about what I wanted to do, and beating myself up about maybe choosing the wrong degree and all of those things. But over time I've realised that was all there for a reason, and it led me to where I am today, and maybe sometimes I've made mistakes and taken a job that maybe wasn't the right job, but I think it all led to here. So I think I'd actually give myself the same advice I just gave today.
And I think I can also relate to that. I mean, a lot of the students, even I as a student, I can speak for myself, did a degree, wasn't really sure which career path I would end on. I actually have a degree in teaching, and here I am.
Yes,
I'm
exactly.
a teacher. So yes, I can totally relate to that. It's absolutely fascinating to hear that. You had that hope. You kind of kept going from one to the next, and finally ended up where you want to be.
And I think the other thing I would say to my earlier self, I'd say I was probably a late bloomer, and it took me quite a long time before I started getting to the seniority and the levels that I wanted. And young people, when they're starting off in their career, they can get quite frustrated and they want to know, what do I need to do to get promoted? And it took me quite a long time, but I probably needed that time to get to the right level of maturity to kind of be in that role. So kind of, again, it's be patient, take advice, learn, take some mentoring, and kind of go with it, and don't sort of put steps on yourself like I need to be a director by the time I'm 35, because that's just, and again, putting more pressure on yourself, that maybe it's not the right role or it's maybe not the right time, but it doesn't mean that it won't come.
Yeah. So don't lose hope.
Yes,
There is
exactly,
hope.
exactly.
Second question is, how do you manage imposter syndrome?
Interesting one. Yes, we have. I have quite a lot of talks with people in the team about that. I think it's probably something that doesn't plague me too much. Maybe it should, but I think some of the other people in the team do find that, and I think it's difficult when you're working in an environment where everybody seems like super skilled and super knowledgeable and that everybody knows what they're doing. But I think the important thing to remember is that not everybody does know what they're doing. Some people are very good at making it seem like they know what they're doing, but everybody has insecurities deep down and things that they don't like doing and things that they panic about, and they're always thinking, oh, I might be found out that I don't know about this. But I think certainly with my team at Farfetch, there's people that are good at everything. There's not one person that's good at everything. So there's people that have specialist skills in lots of different topics, and it's about uniting and working together as a team and putting the right person on the right topic, and then all kind of working together, which maybe sounds a bit cheesy, but I think that's how we do it, and I think that's why it's successful.
And it also ties in very well with the value we spoke about at the beginning, collaboration.
Yes, exactly.
Actually, everyone coming together and collaborating to achieve shared goals. Third question is, in your opinion, what's the most important skill you need to succeed in logistics? I mean, you've already asked this before, isn't
Yes,
it?
I think so. I guess
Somebody's keen to hear it.
they want to double check. No, I think it's common sense and problem solving. I think we need those in abundance. We get a lot of problems, and sometimes, I hate to say it, but thinking out of the box. I think what somebody in my team said, let's just throw away the box. But there's so many problems that come up in that world, and sometimes it's really good to have new people that haven't worked in that industry before, because they'll have a completely different mindset on how to solve a problem, because they don't have loads of experience. And sometimes those are the best ideas, to be quite honest. So I think if you've got that type of mind that thinks in that way, then that can be very good in that type of industry.
Next one is, were you always interested in luxury fashion? I'm a big fan of Farfetch, and there's a big heart.
Oh, I'm very glad to hear it. So, yes, I guess I've spent a lot of my career in fashion. As you mentioned, I worked at Liberty, John Lewis, House of Fraser. Certainly Farfetch is much more up there in terms of luxury. And I love seeing all the things that are on the website, and some really interesting things that we sometimes put on there for me to get from A to B. So we've had some surfboards recently and some quite big items, but no, it's a great industry, and there's always like new things happening and new collaborations. So I think it's a great space where there's lots of entrepreneurial working and lots of new things happening. So it's a really exciting space for sure.
Next question is, what are some of the biggest challenges you've faced in your role and how have you overcome them?
Probably Brexit. I've still got scars. Yeah, that's definitely up there. But I think, like I said, the last few years have been very, very tough, and it's just been one thing after another. And just keeping going sometimes when people are tired and they physically can't do anymore because they're so tired, and it's like running a marathon and trying to encourage people just to finish that final mile. That can be tough to kind of motivate everybody if everybody's feeling really exhausted. But luckily those moments don't happen all the time, and I think, as I said to you, you just need to get through them and say, right, okay, we've just got like 2 more weeks and then we can have a rest. So it's just being mindful as well that people are human and they need to have a break as well at times. So.
Of course. And what skills and qualities do you think are most important for a successful director of delivery?
Oh wow, patience, listening, I think, and being objective. Quite often people get very passionate about a problem and a certain way of solving it, and being objective to think, right, okay, actually there's 9 different ways to solve this one. What are the pros and cons of all of the different ways, and really thinking about the consequences of each decision or each path that you follow, and how it all fits together. And just the ability to multitask on a level that I've never known before. A lot of things hitting you at once, and trying to stay calm and think everything through rather than just jumping and doing things quickly. Sometimes just taking a moment to breathe and think, okay, what's the best way to handle this?
What advice do you have for someone who is just starting out a career in the delivery management?
Well, I think just read lots of stuff. That's always useful. There's a lot of really good articles and insights that are coming out now in the market that can kind of give you new ideas and inspiration. I'm always going to conferences and things like that to find new ideas and new systems that are popping up. Lots of people are doing things in this space where they're inventing new solutions to things. So I think that's quite a good thing to look out for, and almost think about kind of what you want your unique selling point to be. Do you want to be specialist in reporting? Do you want to be specialist in innovation? Do you want to have some kind of specialism where you can really set out your stall and really focus on that? So that can be a good way, because logistics is a very big topic. You've got fulfillment, you've got delivery. I'm just delivery, which is quite specific and quite unusual. Most people would do supply chain as a whole. So I'm pleased that I specialised in delivery, but it's kind of it is quite unique to do that. So I think just think about how you want to specialise going forwards, and how you can separate yourself by doing that.
And one of our final questions is, what role does communication play in successful project delivery, and how do you ensure that communication is effective throughout the project lifecycle?
It's a great question, and I am a little bit obsessive about communication, I must admit. I think Farfetch is a very fast-moving organisation, and if you don't communicate, things will get lost. So we have lots of tools at Farfetch to communicate with different groups of stakeholders, lots of different tools. We use Slack quite a lot. We've got emails, everything going on. So it's almost finding the right one for the right message. But no, I think at Farfetch we're quite good at it in terms of other businesses that I've worked in the past. So I think that is the key to keeping everybody on track, because if somebody doesn't know what's going on and they miss an important bit of information, then the project can very quickly go in the wrong direction. So just having regular updates, making sure everyone's on the same page, we are very careful to make sure that happens.
We have more questions coming in.
Oh.
Are we still okay to answer them? We've got one more final
Okay.
question. So what advice would you give to the next generation of fashion professionals coming through?
Oh goodness, I'm not sure I can answer that one because I'm not particularly in fashion. As my husband says, I'm more in dusty boxes. But
Come on, Chloe. Fashionable.
okay. Oh, I don't know how to answer that one. Oh, that's a tough one, I
But
guess.
maybe at Farfetch, like I mean, for the fashion professionals who want to work at Farfetch, maybe
Yeah.
in logistics.
Yeah. Well, I think it's good to have a passion about the brands and a knowledge of what you're shipping, and there are people in the team that can identify all the products and which designer, and it's great to have people like that because it's not just about the boxes and moving the boxes, but if we've got people that really know the product as well, and it's important when you're delivering a product, of course, if it's a very expensive watch, about thinking about how you want that delivery to go. If you've paid a lot of money for that item or for that handbag, that the delivery matches the product and that you get the right experience. One of the companies we work with calls it the delivery ceremony.
Ooh,
which I really like. So the delivery ceremony that accompanies you buying this item, and I think that's something I'd like to think about a little bit more as we kind of go through our journey at Farfetch, because there are more companies coming now that are doing that very high-end delivery with the suited and booted couriers and really making a big ceremony around the delivery.
Makes
for sure.
a full-on experience.
Yes, exactly, and that's what you expect if you're buying products of that value, for sure.
Chloe, it's been wonderful to have you here. Thank you for sharing your expertise.
Thank you for inviting me.
It's been a pleasure. It's been really a pleasure to have you here. And to our viewers, thank you for joining us today. We hope you have enjoyed this webinar and get to know more about the role in logistics and how you, and what you can do as a senior director in logistics. And we hope you also enjoyed the talk about International Women's Day, some of the points we have touched on. And do keep commenting on International Women's Day. Do let us know who has inspired you and who your inspiration is. Our next ECHO webinar is on the 19th of April at 3 p.m. GMT with Serge Beckwith, who is the founder and CEO of Scene Connects, the innovative influencer marketing agency. For more information about this webinar, do subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we look forward to seeing you then. Thank you. Goodbye.